There are so many new cards to talk about. Let's go. We are going to talk about every single one of them, although I might not read the effects of every single one in its entirety. Just letting you know that right now. So yeah, new gold spell for Dragoncraft. It's the dual leader sort of choose effect card for Dragon. The effect of getting both of them is now tied to Overflow in this case. So you have 3 play point Dragon Oracle essentially, or 3 play point random hard removal, which is very good. Both are good. Obviously, 3 play point Dragon Oracle is worse than 2 play point Dragon Oracle, but you have the versatility of being able to play this as a ramp order removal. And then, of course, the Overflow getting both is great as well. Works amazingly with cards like Ayala. Turn 6 Ayala, turn 6, same turn, you play this as well. You ramp into turn 9, or rather 9 play point Guardiu, which is great. So, comeback of Ramp Dragon, maybe. It's definitely a good piece for that kind of deck, especially with the rotation of Anaros. So this kind of fulfills a 3 play point ramp that is left now that Anaros is leaving rotation. And yeah, the 3 play point removal effect is also just very good by itself, being able to take out huge threats for pretty cheap. For example, a Shizuru, right? So, great card. Moving on. Grayson Rocket Blader. The first part of the effect reminds me a lot of the Panther, but this one's a lot better. When you draw it, you get an effect where you can play Machina followers and they get +1 attack and rush. And you can pretty easily get this out of a Machina deck because it's a dual trait with Commander, so you can play King's Welcome to get this pretty consistently. And then on curve, when you play it for real, it's a 5 play point 4/5, already great stats with Rush, and a leader effect that pings damage whenever a Machina follower attacks an enemy follower. Good thing it's not stackable, because that would be really scary. Yeah, great card. I think it's going to fit really nicely in Machina Swordcraft. Whether or not Machina Swordcraft is good, yet to be seen, but Grayson, very good card. Bloodstained Berserker, 4/4/3 Rush. Pretty simple effect. Fanfare if you play another one, it gets Storm, so that's good. And I think the Storm effect here is going to be pretty relevant because Bloodcraft is getting quite a few great aggro tools, and a 4/4/3 Rush is not bad by itself either, so I think this card could be relevant if aggro Bloodcraft becomes relevant, and it might just because of new cards it is getting, particularly the Ignideus spell. Speaking of blood, this is for a different deck, I think, but still alright. And by alright, I mean great. It's 3/3/3 gold, so that's wonderful. Recovers an evolution point if 10 Machina followers have been destroyed for you, which is pretty easy considering how many generators you have for that right now, including this card itself, plus Neun, of course. And then the evolve effect here, I'm speaking of, about it generating Machina followers for you. If at least 2 Machina cards in your hand, you get a leader effect and full Evo stats, where you get an Assembly Droid at the end of your opponent's turn. So of course the Assembly Droid gains Storm as well. Also not stackable, which is good, because otherwise you'd have way too many Assembly Droids taking up board space. Or maybe it's not good, because that would be kind of hilarious. But yes, not stackable. And the great thing about this is as well is that it curves directly into Neun Daybreak Vampire, which we will talk about as well shortly. Alright, moving on. Regalore Steel Chimera. This is a card I had to debate with myself a lot about. I don't know if it's gonna be amazing, but I think it has great potential, especially with the gold spell Solidarity and Sorcery, or Sorcery and Solidarity, what's it called? Sorcery and Solidarity, being able to draw through your deck for Machina stuff pretty easily. And then the fact that Mecha Book also discounts everything, right, in a way, so you're able to play a bunch of stuff, draw a bunch of stuff, discount this a lot, and then hopefully play it for cheap, having the followers on your board already do damage from the previous turn or the current turn or something, then playing the Regalore, right? Bouncing it all back, and then getting the Assembly Droids and having Rush seems like a good plan. The only thing that makes me really hesitant about this is, well, 2 things, I guess. One, is it going to be better than other Runecraft options in the game at the moment, like Kuon Spell Boost? And 2, it's a lot of conditions to meet for this payoff where you're not dealing any damage directly. It's mostly just complete board game for you. And is that going to be enough? And is it going to be fast enough to beat out the more inevitable win conditions that go on the longer the game goes? I don't know. but I think the card has definite potential, even though it's pretty expensive, because of new cards that's supporting the Machina Runecraft archetype, especially Solidarity and Sorcery. So, yeah, Regalore, I'm kind of back and forth on it. I think it could be great. I also have doubts, I guess I should say. Nerea, Beast Empress, 6/3/3, Fanfare, summon a Blood Behemoth, and give it Ward. If Avarice is active for you, evolve this follower. So Avarice is, of course, drawing 2 cards in the turn from your deck. Strike, gain -2/-2 to... give -2 to -2 to all enemy followers. This is the one that can kill Aegis, of course. So, cool. I think this is mostly relevant in Netra, because you can draw stuff for free. Like, with that 1 play point gold spell. That's pretty good. And of course, the trees themselves activating Avarice pretty easily. Could also be relevant outside of that, but I feel like it's easiest to activate in Natura, I guess I should say. Yeah, getting a Flood Behemoth and giving it Ward is great. If you guys didn't know, Flood Behemoth is the one that has Clash, deal 1 damage to all enemy followers, I believe. I think it's a 4/6. 4/6, I think. Don't quote me on that. But yes. Not bad. 3/3, 4/6 stats. Now I feel like I have to look it up. Blood Behemoth. Alright. Just bringing this review to a complete halt as I Google Flood Behemoth. Yes, it is a 4/6. Ooh, I'm right. That feels good. Yeah, so that's a lot of stats for 6, which is quite nice. And good defensive stats as well, because Flood Behemoth is going to be really annoying to attack into, right? Because it's going to deal damage to your board every time you attack into it. And then the evolve effect on this is wonderful. It's a very, very strong defensive card, that's for sure. I just don't know if Natura is strong enough at the back end to be able to support this deck being good, right? Because you want to play this defensively to support your win condition at the end. Maybe it is. Maybe this is what you need to be able to get to your Lunatic Ether Wombo combo at the end, especially with the addition of the new Gold Blood spell. So yeah, I think in a vacuum, this card is very, very good. In a deck, I think it has potential. Yes. Okay. The only reason I'm kind of hesitant is Blood has a lot of board clear stuff, like Aragavi and such, but I do think that this is probably a step above that. A lot of stats for the cost, great effect, great additional effect, and great additional effect. So, yeah. I think this card is pretty good. Okay, moving on. Major Prayers. 3 play points for Haven. Either draw 2 cards or summon a Meowskers and do both if 2 allied amulets are in play. I think this card is actually alright. Kind of... I mean, it's a little less spectacular than some of the other spells we're seeing, but I do think Haven does struggle on draw a little bit, and this would help those amulet decks for sure. The ones that use Saren and Adjudicator and all those get a little bit more draw in their deck, as well as good value that's easy to proc, right? Because you have pretty much always 2 amulets in play, or at least you try to, right? So, yeah, just a solid card. Not much else to say about it. Without the 2 allied amulets condition, it's like significantly worse by a lot. But with the 2 allied amulets, it's better. It's better. I think without... man. It's okay, but it's just so much better with both, obviously. That I pretty much would feel really bad if I didn't play it with both. But maybe that's just me being a little pessimistic about this one. Trying to think about other decks it could be run in. Potentially Alana, right? Because you have Alana's Prayer plus something else, usually. And you can play this and that for more draw, but you already have Zoe in that, so fine. I think mostly it's for the Amulet Haven deck. Alright, Sorcery and Solidarity. This one's actually amazing. 2 play points to draw a Runecraft follower, or whenever you play a Machina card, draw a card, which is... They're both great, especially the second one. And if you spell boost this 5 times, you do both, so... Yeah, I think this card is very, very, very good and going to be very relevant, especially in Machina. But in spell boost as well, also, it's okay. I think in Machina it's much better. In Machina it's very, very good, so yeah. Moving along. Oh, I should probably say, make it clear, this is the card that I think is really going to fuel Regalore and make it work. I think I said that already, but yeah, just to revisit that a little bit. Okay. Robowhip Reverend. 2/2/2 during your turn. Whenever an effect restores defense to an ally, give +0/+1 to all allied non-Machina followers and +1/+1 to all other allied Machina followers. I just blanked out in the middle of reading that for a second, but essentially, yeah, you can buff up all your Machina stuff. It's like a Alana effect as a follower. And to be honest with you, Alana already has a lot of Machina stuff in it. You know, it has the Iron Knuckle Nun, it has the Recant, right? So, yeah. Those are cards that you always run in Alana, and having another way to boost them is pretty good. Non-Machina give +1 defense is also alright, but really, really good. Actually, giving +1 defense is pretty good as well, but this is really, really, really good. Yeah, I think this slots in pretty well. Whether you're not... yeah, whether you're playing pure Machina Haven or straight up Alana, I think you can pretty easily slot this in and justify it, especially since the opportunity cost here, if you don't get the effect off at all, is a 2/2/2, which is fine. Okay. Rolla and Steelstorm Dragoon we talked about because those are my cards. So, yes. Oh. Yes. They're great. Impact Soldier. This seems more like a take-2 card to me than anything else. I don't think it's really going to be run in Constructed. Unless Sword is really dying for a 2-play point deal 3, which I do not think they are, so do not see that in Constructed at all. Greywing Featherfolk is pretty alright. Havencraft is getting some good Storm Amulets? Yes, Storm Amulets. Storm Followers in general, I should say. And I'm actually quite terrified of Storm Amulets and Storm Invocations right now because of how powerful Gabriel is. Like, Limaga Gabriel is going to be insane. Limaga, any Storm Amulet, Meowskers, this, Regal Falcon from Featherfolk Sanctuary, also amazing. I think you could probably end up building a more aggressive style of Amulet Haven deck, using all the Storm Amulets and Gabriel, and doing a lot of work with that. So this is just another piece of that puzzle. I think it's alright. Yeah, not bad. Not amazing, not bad, but made much better due to the potential synergy with Gabriel that's coming up here. Moving on, Pompous Prince. Fanfare, give +1 to an allied officer follower, alright. And give +1/+1 to all officer followers in your deck on Evolve. Again, the opportunity cost for not running this is... Well, if you don't get the effect off for the Evolve, it's just a 2/2/2, which is fine. And then if you do get the effect off, it's actually pretty strong. You know, you get, boosted Shizuru, boosted Kagemitsu, boosted Quick Blader. There's a lot of stuff it could hit that is very, very good. So, yeah. Seems pretty good. Moving on. And again, Sword also has tons of free evolves, so they're not exactly starving for spending their evolve points on something that is better a little longer term. Alright, Neun Daybreak Vampire. This is the card we revealed on SVO. It's amazing. Works with Mecha Shot Nurse, or Mecha Shot Devil, the previous card we saw. Works with Armored Bat. Adds more Machina fuel for the 10 Machina condition for a lot of these cards, and the condition for mono as well. So, very strong card. Generates a lot of bodies. Amazing. La-di-da-di-da. Bunch of Idolmaster leaders here. Oh, Dragoon Medic. Discard Dragon support in 2020. Never thought I'd see the day. If this card is discarded, restore 3 defense. At the end of your turn, restore 3 defense. I think just as this, it's pretty good also, to be honest with you. Not bad stats for this kind of effect. Reminds me a little bit of old series, but better statted, but without the clash effect. And with a better heal. And with better stats. I think I already said that. But yes, it has very good stats. Defensively, it's a tool for Dragoncraft that, yeah, I think they can end up making a lot of use out of. Especially with the other discard stuff they're getting. In particular, this one. Shipsbane Plesiosaurus. This card is amazing. 6/5/5. I'm just going to read this one out because it's amazing. Give your leader the following effect on fanfare, by the way. When you discard a card, deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower and the enemy leader. So piercing rune, essentially. And if you have at least 10 playpoint orbs, you can evolve it for 0, and then evolve, you discard a card and draw 2 cards. And if it's a natural card, you restore 2 defense. Which is amazing. So you can discard this and restore 3, or discard a natural card, restore 2. Either way, you're drawing 2, which is wonderful, and you're casting piercing rune. Yeah, and it's well statted, relatively. For what it does as well. Card is insane. And it works with Wildfire Tyrannosaur, which is very, very scary. Speaking of very, very scary, Garnet Waltz. Choose. Bloodcraft spell. Okay? It's either deal 3 damage or recover 1 evolution point for only 2 play points. So much, much better Crimson Desire. This is very good. And no self-ping Raise Reclaw face, which is very good. Either way, this card is amazing, and I think it's going to make aggro even better in Unlimited. It's going to make aggro more relevant in rotation, and it's just a very amazing card all around. It's going to be another piece in the Tetra finisher puzzle, where you're controlling the whole game until you get to turn 10, then you play Lunatic Ether, Lunatic Ether, Lunatic Ether, Urias' Revelry, Urias' Revelry, Urias' Revelry, Raise Reclaw, win the game. So yeah, amazing card. Iron Sting Archaeologist, 4/4/3, put a Paradigm Shift in your hand. Evolve, summon an Ancient Artifact. Pretty bad. There's better Paradigm Shift generators. Speaking of Paradigm Shift, 7 play points. Whenever an allied artifact follower is destroyed, subtract 1 from the cost of this card. Summon a Barrier, Keen Edge, or Airstrike. Barrier is Bane Ward. Rush Drain. And here we have Storm, last words. So, pretty good stuff if you can boost this enough. There's also other generators for it as well, which we will get to in a bit. This, in general, I am kind of split on. I think it could be amazing. Of course, this is adding more types of artifacts that can boost stuff like Modesty, Vertex Colony, etc., which is amazing, of course. And the fact that you can boost this to 0 and summon a cheap Bane Ward or a cheap Rush Drain if you're in a pinch, or even a cheap finisher, although this one I think is going to be a bit less relevant most of the game. I think it's wonderful, but how fast can you boost this when you both have to... First, you have to generate the Paradigm Shift token, then you have to generate a bunch of artifacts to boost the Paradigm Shift, then you get the payoff. It's a lot of work, so I'm 50-50 on it. And we'll talk about it more in a bit when we see some of the other generators here. Awakened Gaia, Forestcraft Natura Legendary. At the end of your turn, if at least 4 cards were played this turn, subtract 4 from its cost. Fanfare, if at least 4 of the cards were played, destroy 4 random enemy followers. So, seems like it's great in Control Forest, being able to play tons of cards really easily, like with the Ether, right? So, there's that. Does Roach need this? I mean, it's not bad. 4 random enemy followers with a 6/6 body for 8. Pretty good. It's pretty good. But remember, you have to play 4 cards, and then you have to play this, and when you play 4 cards, it still costs 8. So it's pretty difficult to proc, actually, right? You'd need Ether, Yeah. Like, if you want to play it on 8, you'd need ether, 0 cost, 3 respite or something like that, right? Something to that effect. And that's just to play it on curve on 8. Or am I reading this wrong? Oh, I am. At the end of your turn. So you can subtract a lot of this as the game goes on. Hold up. Wait a minute. Reread this. At the end of your turn, if at least 4 cards were played this turn, subtract 4 from the cost of this card. So if this is in your hand from the beginning, and you do a bunch of subtracting 4s over the course of the game, you could get this for really cheap, like in the middle, which makes it very good. And you often do that when you're playing Control Roach, right? Because you're often playing stuff like Ether, May, etc. turns, or just comboing your Roach back and forth, and you have this as well. So then now you have a way to get a cheap removal for Roach. You play Roach, and you play a 0 play point Awaken Gaia, destroy all their wards, and just go in. Alright. Thank you, Power of Reading. Yeah, this card seems pretty good now. Seems very, very good. A little inconsistent because you have to get it early, and if you get it too late, it kind of bricks you a little bit. But it has amazing potential in being able to clear the board and letting your roaches just go straight through. So, or just being played in regular Natura as well. Although I think that the roach version is more relevant. Clearing the wards out. Yeah, that's quite good. Good thing we decided to read through that again. Yeah, I was thinking that effect sounded wrong the first pass through I did of it. Just seemed really weak, but yes, that seems a lot better now. Okay. Patrick, Rhiceros Knight, 7/6/8, Officer Natura. Okay. Crystallize 1, countdown 1, put a tree into your hand. That's great. Last words, draw a Natura card that costs X play points or less. That's also great. So on 1, it's a tree generator and a card draw, which is very relevant. And on Fanfare, if you play this solo, it's a 1 play point 6/8 ward that you can easily combo with Regal Wildcat for an insane amount of storm damage. Just a ludicrous amount of storm damage, right? So, yeah, team is very strong. Moving on. He Who Once Rocked, which is an amazing name. That's awesome. 10/5/5 Storm Ward. Last words, reanimate 8. It's whatever. Accelerate 3, summon 3 assembly droids, and put a 9-point He Who Once Rocked without accelerate into your deck. That's pretty good. Actually, the Storm Ward, last words, reanimate 8 is great with Lara, specifically. So, yes. Storm Ward Reanimate 8 with Lara is incredible. That is actually amazing. As an actual 10 cost card, it's whatever. But with Lara, it's great. And with the Accelerate, it's great because it's 4 bodies. Yeah. Not 4 bodies, rather. 4 shadows and 3 bodies. I'm recording this at 3:30 a.m. Okay, moving on. Android Artisan, this is a paradigm shift generator. I think it's better than the 4.1. The 4.1 is just so expensive, so clunky. This one, it's a 2/2/2, which is fine, and it gives you paradigm shift. And if your aim is to generate as many paradigm shifts as possible, that works out great. Speaking of, Syntonization, Portal Craft spell, put an analyzing, bifurcating, radiant, or paradigm shift into your hand. By the way, let me just say, syntonizing, I think, is the process of making 2 things have the same frequency with each other, as shown in this card art. I believe that's what it is. And yet this is not a resonance card, which I think is just a terrible missed opportunity. But 1 play point, generate a good artifact that you can play. That's wonderful. Lets you boost your Vertex and your Modesties or what have you very directly. And of course, it's another paradigm shift generator as well, which, like I said, I'm still kind of 50-50 on. Moving on. I think this is the last one. Alright, we just blasted through this, and by blasted through, I mean it took us 24 minutes and 40 seconds and counting, but okay. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. That really was a lot of cards. Ralmia, Sonic Racer, Portal Craft Machina, 2/2/1. Rush, when an allied artifact card comes into play, gain the ability to evolve for 0 evolution points. Okay, that's alright. Evolve, if you have at least 6 play points, use 6 play points, and gain +X +X. X equals the number of allied artifact cards with different names destroyed this match. So again, boosted by synchronization and paradigm shift. And I think it's also supposed to gain Storm, I believe. You cast this with 6 play points. I think so. I've been told by Discord that this is a mistranslation. I'll wait for the official word later. But I believe this also is supposed to gain Storm here, which makes it very, very good, of course. Another, basically, the artifact game plan is now coming together, right? You paradigm shift, you play a bunch of artifacts, you chip them down with Ralmia, and then you finish them off with Vertex Colony. It seems alright. Okay. And those are all the cards. Cool. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Was I right? Was I wrong? Let me know. Like the video if you did. Don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Shadowverse content in the very near future. And thank you so much to my wonderful patrons. Really appreciate you. See you all next time. Bye-bye.